Cezanne said that all art is selected detail. And when we started NFL Films, I wanted to get those little details that added onto the action would flesh out the story.
Steve Sabol's vision was to portray the game through a unique lens. The camera lens used to capture these shots gives fans the rarest perspective of them all.
I think this lens is the best sports cinematography lens out there. So the Optex 33-1 is the lens I use to film action NFL games. The 33-1 is the range that the lens has, so it's 33 times the widest point on the lens.
1998, we hired Steve Richard to be our head camera tech. We never had one in-house before. Steve Richard brought it to me that there's this great new long lens, zoom lens, that had this focal length. So, I mean, you could cover head to toe at the pylon if a player was coming in at you, or get into a tight close-up at the 50-yard line.
There were only ever 15 of those that were sold worldwide. The only ones that I personally know of are 4. We have 2 of them. There's one at a now defunct rental house in Colorado, and then there's one that's an owner-operator owned lens.
In order for the lens to be portable along the sidelines, it first needed to be rehoused or converted from a Canon broadcast lens to a Cine-style lens.
A rehousing of a lens isn't a new idea, but at the time it was pretty inventive. And that took place at Optex, which is in England.
There were no companies like Optex at the time. The lens was obviously designed for a broadcast, but we just had the idea of converting it so it could be used more cinematically.
They basically stripped everything mechanical off of it, and they figured out how to make it more of a film industry standard type lens.
It didn't take long for NFL Films to capitalize on the versatility of the lens.
It was 2000 season, week 6, Buffalo at Miami. And this is the first game I ever shot action. Again, you can see how tight I am on Fiedler off the top. And this was a film. I went up, I had ball in the air, it's sharp on the point. As it starts to tip down, you pull out. Pull back, he makes the catch. And that's the moment where he said, this lens is something special. At low angle, you're just 6 inches off the ground with that lens, and everybody looks heroic. Yeah, that's when the light bulb really went off.
A good example of the range of this lens is this past Super Bowl. There was a Jalen to A.J. Brown touchdown that was a 45-yard pass that I was able to cover perfectly because I had this setup. I was down, that was about 7 yards into the end zone, but he's probably another 6 yards behind the line. It's a 60-yard for me from beginning to end, and that I was able to follow the ball all the way in and then be head to toe by the time A.J. Brown grabbed the ball. He couldn't have done that with a handheld lens. There's no limitations with this lens, which is why it's fantastic. We can follow the huddle break, follow the feet walking up to the line, and get their hand grabbing the ball, snapping it. The wide receivers, tight shots of their hands, getting on the glove. I can get the tight shot of the quarterback's eyes in motion, trying to read the defense. DBs lining up against the wide receivers, looking inside to try to read the offense. I can follow the linebackers, trying to follow the quarterback's call.
That lens enables you to be on the far sideline and look across and see, oh, there's Tom Brady looking at the Microsoft Pad. Here's a whole scope of Soldier Field, and then I snap in a tight shot of a star in the game. You really learn that it's not just the big picture, it's the detail, and the details that matter.
I love the emotion. I love getting in there, and the fact that I can be so far away, players, they don't know you're filming them. It's more natural. It's just the uniqueness of the range that can capture from tight to wide instantaneously. I don't think there'll ever be another lens that can do what this lens does.